Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Let's Stay Gamers, and welcome. So today I'm playing a little bit of Interstellar Rift. Now, Interstellar Rift is a starship simulator, or so it says it is, and it gives you the opportunity to build, modify, and create your own starship. And if you're like me and you follow this sort of genre of games where you can construct and build whatever the hell you want, pretty much allowing your imagination to go wild. Ooh, there's two ships going past there or something. Well, basically allowing your imagination to go wild. You know that each particular developer has a different way of building and constructing, and a different way or a number of limitations on the actual buildings itself. So we're actually in a space station. We're actually part of a faction at the moment called Drifters. So these are like the suspicious bad guys who go scavenging all the stuff off the space station. So you can see we've got a bulletin board, and on this particular server we have the trade prices. You can trade resources, steal resources, kill people for resources. Just a whole variety of different bits of fun. So we've got one player down here looking at some holographic table, so you can see the holo table and the controls, so you can look at the different parts in the star system. In here we also have the access port to the ship construction. Now you can edit and build ships from the main menu that you can then import in here. Now what's cool about this is if we go on design, we can actually start building a ship to the specifications. We have a limited amount of resources to start with, so let's just go off that menu, confirm that for the moment, and we can also go to our build menu. If I can access that one, click on that one, and then we've got some ships that are actually sort of activated in our build menu. So if I click on that hauler, it'll say how many resources available to us and the difference between that we don't have. So to start with, we need a really simple, cheap, affordable ship that Aaron has decided not to build yet. So you can see we've got a few different versions here with different resources. But I'm going to pop back into the editor now, and I'll show you what the interior and the building process is all about, because I feel that's the most important part of this game. So welcome to the editor. Now this editor is very, very similar to other sort of editors in this genre, but in my opinion, they do it a little bit differently and a little bit better. Now you're wondering how. First of all, they divide it up into a number of different categories. As you can see, these devices here. So we have the interior editor mode, we have the prop editor mode, we have the exterior edit mode, we also have the power group, so we can set up power groups so to different areas, make sure different areas are powered by certain generators, and then we also have the device edit mode. So covering this, basically the interior mode allows us to place basic sort of interior components such as floors, walls, ceilings, and cockpits, and the variety of these blocks is outstanding. It basically will allow you to build whatever sort of ship you want. We'll go into the particular blocks when I start building a ship in a few minutes time. But going to props, props are the little less sort of useful objects, but they kind of fill out detailing in areas. So we've got catwalks, we've got stairwells, catwalks, walls, fake sort of prop windows, we've got cargo pads, pillars, so you can have pillar lights and whatnot. You got furniture, just a whole variety of cool things. So you can have command rooms with boardroom tables, you can have jukeboxes and whatnot. You've also got systems, so you've got your oxygen, hydrogen, and your vending machines for all your snacks. Just giving you a whole variety of just styles and things that you can do with detailing the inner walls of your ship. Then going to exterior mode, what we've basically got is a way of editing the blocks on the outer hull. That is quite important, but I'll show you why it's even more important on the next little thing we're going to load up. So we're going to actually load a ship I've been working on. Oh god, where's it gone? It's not here. Okay, we'll load up this one. So this was the ship that I was loading. I feel really bad now. I've lost a really nice ship that I was building. So this was a little design I was just testing out to see what the thruster rates would be. But my whole point of these early designs is you want to build something that'll fit the restrictions of the server that you can see up at the top left. So at the start, they'll restrict you or give you so many resources free. You need to build a ship that meets them goals in the editor, and then you can start piloting it about. So talking about how the exterior works, if we go to the prop edit mode, you can see that's all my ship at the moment. It's just a large cockpit, this sort of cargo area, and it's had this room cut off. So what I'm going to actually do is go to the interior mode, go to floors, and I'm going to drag, and as simple as that, I've extended that room outwards. Now to build a separate room, you just stick the plus on that tab. You can see the previous rooms we've built, and we can build ourselves a little engine room here on the back. Now something to bear in mind with building this game that I quite like is if we go to the exterior mode, you can see how it's stretched that area out. We cannot delete using these blocks, so there's nothing we can do in this area. This has to stay to keep that interior intact, so you have to kind of build your exterior around it or plan very carefully to fit your interior. It's just a really cool idea. I quite like it. But as we go back to the interior editor mode, now we need to work out or start designing up this room, and I'll show you how quickly you can turn this blank cell into something that looks very detailed. So first off, we need to pick ourselves a floor, and this kind of reminds me of a bit of like Sims for some reason. So we place ourselves a nice tiled floor down in there, and I can see that this game would totally be awesome with modifications, especially how simple the blocks actually come across as. So in this area, this is going to be our engine room, so we want it in very sort of, this is a very imperial sort of wall I quite like. So we'll stick that imperial sort of wall around the outside. You can see if I click here, it can't add it. It can only add these with backs towards the outer walls. And we can only add a doorway between two compartments, so this compartment and that compartment in this instance. So let's add a door, perhaps one on that side, one on that side, so we've got some good access to both points and our room 0. So there we go. So we still need to decorate the inside of that room, but let's work on our engine bay. So first off, as we come to building this, it'll say what the ship actually requires. It requires a teleporter, life support, and room ventilation. So to kick that off, we need to build ourselves some sort of life support system. So we've got the life support system here, and this life support system takes basically boxes of supplies that you add on to it as you collect them. So thinking that in mind, we need some way of actually having like a supply pallet next door. So if we go to the props and we go to maybe furniture, we might have a supply pad that we need. Let's have a look for one of them supply pads. What's that? That's an extractor. And it doesn't seem like we've got one in this particular section. There we go, cargo. So we can add a supply pad next to that. We could do with a 4 big one, so that'll hold our hydrogen and oxygen when it comes to refilling that thing. So going back to this systems, we need to build ourselves next up some sort of power cell so we can keep our place charged. We've accidentally built ourselves a desk in the corner of the door there. We don't want that. So to keep this ship under the budget, we're just going to add ourselves a small power cell, but I think we might be over already because the rooms have got too big and we're going to need too much iron, but we'll continue building anyway. So we've got the fuse box there, we've got that, we've ticked off the main parts. We just need to work on getting oxygen around this place. So to get oxygen, let's go to props, let's go to systems, and we need to build ourselves a hydrogen tank. So we'll stick that hydrogen tank there, and then we also need to build ourselves a hydrogen generator. So we'll go with the cheap one. So you can see these are much larger hydrogen generators. That would make more sense if you were building a larger ship, and when you can afford a larger ship, then stick them in and you can build a much larger design. And still, as if I switch to the exterior view, you can see how it's affecting that. The parts inside are not affecting that at all. But if you add something in, for instance, like a window, so let's add a little window out into space. Maybe we'll have, should we have a double? Let's plant that there. So you can see that's now planted a window, but going on to the exterior view, you can see how it's put that window on the outside. So then we'd need to sculpt our way into fixing that window. So when it comes to rotating blocks, we can rotate them by the mouse or by the keyboard, just creating ourselves some subtle but easy sort of detailing across this rear segment of the ship. In my opinion, this is way too square. I'd have to go back over this and round the whole rear section off, but you can just kind of get the idea of how that inner block now starts to affect the outer block. So let's go back to the interior view, and so we've got the main systems. We need a teleporter, so I think the teleporter is in props. I could be wrong. There we go, teleporter. Let's stick that in that section. Now we need room ventilation. So to get room ventilation, we go back to the interior, and we can either put ceiling, wall one. So let's put a wall one in that section. So that room's ventilated. Room that doesn't need any ventilation, that needs ventilation. So actually, let's just check what's in room 0. So that doesn't even need anything. Let's confirm that we're going to remove that room, and then we're going to add 1 to the floor in the center. Actually, we'll add 2, 1 and 1 there. So this is more like the cabin area that we kind of need to decorate using more of the props. And then finally, the cockpit needs oxygen. So the cockpit has actually already got oxygen in that area. Perfect. So we can go back across and start decorating this with props. Now, props don't serve a great purpose, but what you can do is in this area, for instance, let's build ourselves a little kitchen so we can actually store our food. We can go to our systems. We can stick a vending machine in our kitchen, for instance. We could also stick like maybe we need like a table in that corner as well. So that's a large table. We don't want that. It's too big. Maybe like a corner table so you can sit there and eat. There's also a table over in that area, but does that kind of clip through the glass? No, we don't want that then. We'll rotate that around so you can sit there and look out. So there we go. We've done ourselves a little refreshment area. We could turn the rest into a cargo bay that I kind of think we need to do, or some way of mining resources, or else it'll be quite a useless ship. So we've also got a different sort of kitchen there that we can apply against them walls. We also need to decorate all these walls. But this was me just kind of showing you the basics of Interstellar Rift and how the resource at the top will affect your starter ship compared to a ship. When you collect more resources, you can kind of double up and have even more interiors, larger layouts and whatnot. So bringing this video to a close, I've quickly shown you around the editor and I give you a quick look at one of the stations. But if you want to see in the next video me take one of these ships out that I've managed to construct and gather some resources, maybe even take out some opponents, let me know in the comments below. Anyway,